the head-to-head war that we're about to experience between AEW and NXT is so absurd. This is why, and I know tribalism is fine. Toxic tribalism is a little much. When you believe in your core that one is better than the other, I hate this one, I love this one. If you feel slighted, personally slighted, if you feel like Edge did you a disservice or Jade Cargill did you a personal disservice, then you're probably in way too deep and you need to gain perspective. But if you are team this, and that means you're not team that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. That's to be expected when there's competition. But realistically speaking, like if you're a football fan, 49ers and the Cowboys, they're both doing great this season. When they face off, you're rooting for one team over the other. But in your heart of hearts, you know that when both teams are good, it makes that game way better. 49ers and the Cowboys, they don't get along, right? But if one of them sucks and one of them's really good, I mean, it's always fun to watch a blowout. But it's not like, yeah, this is what it's all about. A blowout is not, yeah, this is what it's all about. When it's both great teams, that's when the victory is going to feel sweet. That's when it's like, you got to watch this game. That's what we've got with competition. That's what we've got with WWE and AEW both existing. And there's no better evidence. I mean, I thought it was great when we were I'm a big fan of talent going back and forth. I love the idea of Edge leaving WWE and going to AEW. And people at the press conference asking Triple H, how'd you let Edge go? Triple H go, Edge decided to go. Edge telling his story. Jade Cargill leaving AEW, going to WWE. I love that. I love the idea that people are already pointing out, wait till Ricky Starks gets to WWE. I love the idea that, FTR goes to AEW. Finally, they can shine. I love that because I love it for the product. I love it for the talent, because if you love wrestling, you better love wrestlers. And the fact that there is competition means that, number one, there's more jobs for wrestlers. Number two, there's more opportunity for wrestlers. But number three, there's more money for wrestlers. Because a wrestler can say, I know what my worth is, if that is their worth. And they can go, if you don't give me this money, there's a guy in Florida that will. Or if you don't give me this money, there's a homie in Stanford that will. And now we're prospering. And as fans, the reason that we prosper is because none of these companies want to put on an L show. Nobody wants to take an L. We get too much birthday every single week. Why? Because there's competition. The reason that AEW sells out 80,000 people, puts on a show full of amazing matches, and then 7 days later is on pay-per-view and has to put on a show full of amazing matches, they can't have a dud of a pay-per-view. So 7 days later, we have another 5-hour show full of amazing matches. Why? Because there's competition. Every time WWE's had a premium live event, it's got to be a winner. It's got to be something where everything progresses. There's news coming out of it. We can sit here for a half hour and break it all down. Why? Because there's competition. They need to keep having good shows. Even NXT is having bangers. Why? Because there's competition. And now you want to up the ante? AEW goes, well, we got to have our show on Tuesday. I guess they're preempted on Wednesday. So they're like, Tuesday is when we can do our show. So we're going to do Title Tuesday. And NXT is like, what? You know, NXT is still salty, I'll bet. Because they moved to Tuesday, you know. NXT and AEW used to be head-to-head every week, but AEW would win in the ratings every time. They ended up moving NXT to Tuesday. They said it wasn't because of AEW. Who knows? But I would imagine there's still a little salt there. Still being a little salty. And they go, AEW is coming to Tuesday. That's our night. And NXT's been getting better. That's where it gets dangerous. NXT's been getting better in terms of quality. NXT's been getting better in terms of brand identity. They don't have so many ridiculous colors. NXT has been getting better in terms of the fact that when they started, they had a bunch of people on that show that had never worked on television before. A bunch of people on the show that had never even worked before. Now, all those people have been working this whole time. And they've got cooperation from the main roster. And they've got great cohesive stories that are being told week after week. So they're doing much better in terms of quality and in terms of ratings numbers. So they're like, wait. You guys are coming to Tuesday. They're like, yeah, we're coming to Tuesday, Title Tuesday. We're going to have the titles on the line. And they go, okay, well, guess what? We got Dom Mysterio as our North American champion. And we got Becky Lynch as our NXT Women's champion. So I think in terms of titles, we should be good. Let's go, baby. The battle is on. And then Edge shows up. Adam Copeland shows up at the pay-per-view. And then in the press conference, they announce Adam Copeland is going to be on AEW every week. And Adam is going to have his first AEW match against Luchasaurus. When? Title Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday, October 10th. Adam Copeland's first AEW match in NXT goes, oh, really? 2 days later, you turn on NXT. And they go, guess what? On that same Tuesday, October 10th, they got Edge versus Luchasaurus. We've got Roxanne Perez versus Asuka. And you go, okay, you're bringing Asuka in? All right, I see you. And they said, you didn't let us finish. I said, whoa. They said, we're also doing a rematch between Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker. And I go, okay, that's a big match. And they go, you didn't let us finish. In Carmelo Hayes' corner will be John Cena. And I'm like, what? You're bringing John Cena and Asuka to NXT to compete. You guys are on a different level. They go, you didn't let us finish. I go, all right, I'm sorry. Next week, Cody Rhodes has a big announcement to make on NXT. I go, you're bringing Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and Asuka to NXT to compete with AEW and Adam Copeland's first match in AEW. It's starting to feel like you're trying to run up the scoreboard. And they go, you didn't let us finish. I go, okay. At the end of the show, they go, guess who's going to be in Braun Breaker's corner? I go, I don't know, Robert Stone? They go, no, Paul Heyman. I go, the Bloodline's wise man, Paul Heyman. The guy that people tune into Fox to see. SmackDown's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman. Paulie Dangerously Paul Heyman. On NXT, they go, yep. So we've got, aside from everybody who's already on NXT, Asuka wrestling, John Cena, Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker, Cody Rhodes, and Paul Heyman. And I'm like, this is absurd. This is absurd. AEW goes, whew, okay. Well, we got good matches, you know. We've got Adam Copeland versus Luchasaurus. That's going to be a big deal. Bryan Danielson versus Swerve, which tells you a couple things. Number one, a Bryan Danielson match is going to be a banger. But number two, how confident they are in Swerve. That's a big deal. We've got Chris Jericho versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs joining the Callis family last week. Now he faces Chris Jericho. Big deal. Real good look for Hobbs. Chris Jericho match. That's a big deal. And they say we're going to do Phoenix versus John Moxley. Mox is coming back. He got injured in that match with Phoenix. He lost the title. He gets the opportunity to get his international title back. We can assume he'll win it back from Phoenix. So that's a big look. John Moxley winning a title on television. Okay. All right. So with all those matches, okay, now you are competing with Asuka and Braun Breaker and Carmelo and John Cena and Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman, and NXT goes, but you didn't let us finish. I go, what? Wait till the end of the commercial, Sam. I go, okay, I'll wait till the end of the commercial. Gong! That's the Undertaker's music. You're bringing the Undertaker to NXT? This isn't even fair anymore. The Undertaker, without being said, rumored to be coming to NXT. Cody Rhodes and Triple H, both at the Fastlane press conference, referenced the fact that there was some interesting music at the end of that NXT promo, basically saying, yeah, he's coming, because there's no way that it's a bait and switch in this era of WWE. I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe they would put that gong at the end of that promo and have The Undertaker not be there. I think The Undertaker is going to be on NXT. I think that this Tuesday, the Tuesday Night Wars, is going to be unbelievable. It's going to be incredible. I mean, if you're WWE, if you're NXT, you'd headline with Carmelo versus Braun Breaker, right? That's going to be your main event. Maybe you open with the Cody Rhodes announcement. Maybe you do Asuka versus Roxanne Perez, going from 9 p.m. going into the 9 p.m. hour, going from 8:50 to 9:10, and then you have The Undertaker somewhere in the second hour. I don't know, man. Because if you're AEW, I say Phoenix versus Mox is your opener, right? That's a safe bet. I think people are going to look at that and go, Mox is probably going to win the title. So you put Mox versus Phoenix as your opener because people are going to want to watch it because they're going to want to see Jon Moxley win a championship. And it's a good way to start a show. And then I think you end with Edge versus Luchasaurus. I'm sorry, Adam Copeland versus Luchasaurus. And then in the middle of that, and then, probably Bryan versus Swerve is your going into the second hour match. That's probably how I would program those two shows. I think NXT is going to win in the ratings for a few reasons. Number one, that's not AEW's regular time slot. And number two, they've got Undertaker, Asuka, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, and everybody who's always on NXT. And who knows what else. You know damn well they've got surprises up their sleeve. You know damn well that they've been waiting for a long time to do this. They're going to send a message loud and clear. They're showing up to a knife fight with an atomic bomb. And they're going, never do this. This is what I believe WWE is doing. They're looking at AEW and going, don't ever do this again. Never go head-to-head with us. Now, it's a risk. It is a calculated risk. Because if AEW does win in the ratings, and these are great matches that they've got on the show, Adam Copeland wrestling for the first time in AEW is a big draw. Mox winning a title is a big draw. Are those things hot enough to compete with all that? It's tough. But if AEW were to win the ratings, because, AEW is in the better position here, right? Because if AEW loses, then you can't say, like if AEW lost in the ratings under normal circumstance, you'd go, bro, you can't even beat their developmental. What do you mean? You can't say that now, right? Because, they've stacked this show like no show I've ever seen. There's more star power on this show than the average Raw or SmackDown. So AEW is fighting from a deficit, and they're not on their regular night. But if AEW were to win, even by one ratings point, not even, I'm sorry, 0.01 of a ratings point, because one ratings point is a huge margin to win by. But if they have one viewer more than NXT, and it's after all that star power was added to NXT, there's going to be some splaining to do. Either way, as a fan, look at what we're getting. We're getting one night with Adam Copeland wrestling in AEW, with Mox in a title match, with Bryan Danielson versus Swerve, Hobbs finally getting his due, Jericho, Asuka and Roxanne Perez, Cena, Cody, Heyman, Taker. If it is not clear to you who the winner is when there's competition, I don't know what else to tell you.